since you felt like this. Been a while 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 since you felt like this.
Hey, it's Dave from Midlife Explorer. Today we're out riding some local trails in Hespeler, Woodland Park, and we're going to go to a little track to try out my new bike, my new Giant Trance E+3 actually. There's 3 versions of this bike. Brand new bike, only picked it up a couple of weeks ago. I'm out today, I'll give you my first impressions of the bike. We're actually getting ready to go for a bit of a longer ride tomorrow, so I just wanted to become familiar with it. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos on this channel, you'll note that I've actually had an e-bike for a few years now. Oh, this is going nowhere. So anyway, as I was saying, I've had an e-bike now for 4 years. I actually had a dual suspension Giant many years ago, an AC2, that I actually sold to buy my first e-bike, which was the Moscow Plus that you can see on my channel. Had that bike for 3 years. I just recently sold it, the proceeds of which have obviously gone into the purchase of this bike. I still have the other e-bike, my Bolt Bike Enduro, and I will actually be switching between the two. Now, when I was originally shopping, thank you. So when I was originally shopping for an e-bike, this was actually the bike I really wanted, but it was an awful lot of money to invest in. Quite frankly, almost the price of my motorcycle. As a matter of fact, I actually have a Honda CB 500X, and my motorcycle didn't really cost me much more than this thing did. Anyway, an awful lot of money to spend on a bicycle at the time, so I went for something a lot more economical. Didn't know an awful lot about the technology at the time. I was actually very happy with my Moscow Plus. Rave reviews on it if anybody's going to buy one. But it wasn't really what I was looking for. I mean, keep in mind, I sold a dual suspension mountain bike and I bought a rear hub hardtail. I quickly learned that the Moscow Plus wasn't really a mountain bike, although I certainly tried and enjoyed the bike. But it basically became my backup bike once I bought the Enduro. Okay. Now the Enduro I've kept. It's also a dual suspension bike, but it's a much more economical version of a dual suspension mountain bike than this one, and I like that bike a lot. Yeah, I had the NCM Moscow Plus. I've had it for 3 years. I just sold it recently. 2,000 kilometers on it by the time I sold it. But I quickly realized that I needed something a little bit more durable, built for purpose if I was going to really take it off-road mountain bike. So I bought the Enduro. You're right. And I like the Enduro a lot. That's why I've kept it. And my wife and I go mountain biking together on the e-bike. So she'll probably ride the Enduro and I'll ride this. The Enduro is actually a great bike, and as a matter of fact, if I'm riding primarily on road and trails like this, I'll probably still ride the Enduro. We actually did some significant rides with both of those bikes last year, and we tested the limits in the range of both of them. And 90 kilometers basically is the longest you're going to get on my Volt Bike Enduro. So one of the main reasons why we started shopping around again is there's a couple of trails that we rode last year that we would actually like to do the entire trail end to end, and neither of my bikes were capable of doing that. One of them's the G2G trail from Guelph to Godrich. It's 135 kilometers. Not going to be able to make that distance on either of those bikes. There. Now this one, the Giant Trance E+3, is if you are riding on at a conservative level, apparently has a range of almost 190 kilometers. Now we're going to find out pretty quickly, because we're going to go and do a ride from Brantford down to Waterford, and depending on how we're feeling, maybe even all the way to Port Dover and back tomorrow, which is why I'm out riding today, because I want to get a sense of what the range is on this bike. We're also going to take it off in the woods a little bit, although I can tell you already it's much more capable on single track than even my Enduro is, so that one's obvious, which is why I bought it.
Is that your own bike?
So we're going to use this Mill Run Trail in Cambridge to get out to the county forest, and then we'll go play around in the county forest a little bit. I'll let you know what I think about the bike, give you some first impressions on the bike at least anyway. And I'll do a more detailed review. I'm not going to actually spend a lot of time talking about the specs on the bike. But just so you know, this Giant Trance E+3 is an aluminum frame. It's a 29er. This is a medium frame. It's got a Sync Drive Pro motor, got 85 Newton meters of torque, which is actually less than my Volt bike. My Volt bike's got 120, and you can already notice the difference. I can tell you right off the bat that the Volt bike actually has more power than this one does, but that's not a bad thing. This one actually feels more like a mountain bike and less like an e-bike than the others do. I'm actually riding on automatic mode. It's what the bike defaults to when you first start it. So it adds assistance where needed, but there are 5 levels of assist on this bike. We'll keep it on automatic for today. So there are 3 versions of the bike. Actually, as you move up to the 2 and the 1, you get I think a carbon fiber frame. You also get a different suspension. This is a RockShox front and back. I think it's a Fox suspension on the more expensive models, the Maestro system. This is the Maestro system as well, but the more expensive versions actually have an adjustable suspension. Adjusts actually as you ride. This is a definite upgrade to what I have in my Volt bike though. You can see where the money is being spent. This bike is more than twice the cost of my Volt bike, and it's definitely in the components. That's basically where you notice it. It's got more travel front and rear. It's got 150 millimeters of travel on the front, 140 on the back. More than I'll ever need. I'm almost 60 years old, so I probably won't be doing too many jumps this year, although we'll take it out. Got plans to go to the Pines out in Woodstock and maybe even the Hydro Cut. I will definitely head into pushing this track over the next week or two because that's in my neighborhood, and that's why I bought the bike. Although I do ride with friends a lot on rail trails and simple single track, I do actually like the more technical rides. This bike is actually limited to 32 kilometers an hour, and it voids the 2-year warranty if you mess around with it. So I will not be changing its defaults. Apparently there's a chip you can put into it to actually get it to go a bit quicker. My Volt bike is much faster than this bike. It'll do 42. So when I'm on the road, again, that's why if I'm riding anywhere on a road trail combination, if there's a lot of road riding, I'll actually take the other bike because it actually is much quicker on the road, get there quicker. If I'm off-road though, which is where I'm going next, I'll head on this thing. So if I was on my Volt bike right now, I would be carrying double the speed that I am right now. It's got a Shimano Dior drivetrain. I think it's a 1x10. But again, with the Volt bike, I have a 42 tooth sprocket on the front, so it actually gets it up to about 42 kilometers an hour, which you notice when you ride now. I don't know how fast I'm going because this bike doesn't have a display. I put a Garmin on it, but I'm not really happy with the Garmin so far because I haven't been able to get it to connect to the bike yet. Still working on that piece, so I've got it turned off. But I understand why you wouldn't include the display. It makes for a very clean look on the bike. But having had a display on my bikes now for 4 years, I miss it. I can tell you that right now. I've got it on my phone, and as you might notice here, I've got a quad lock system for the phone. I just didn't want to mount it today because I was going to play around with the Garmin, but I think I might switch over to the quad lock system so at least I can see what's going on the bike. Not a big fan of the controller on it. Trying to get used to this thing, switching things back and forth. I just switched it off of automatic. It's a bit temperamental. And I just increased my assist level to get up this hill. Well, there she is, my new Giant Trance E+3. It's a good looking bike actually. I think I love the way they integrate the battery. It's kind of a stealth e-bike compared to my other bikes. It's less obvious, obviously. It's got 29ers on the front. I think they're 2.6 inch Maxxis tires. I've got tubes in them. I don't. It's got 4-pot disc brakes, hydraulic front and back. I think there's Shimano disc brakes on it. It's got 150 mil travel with a RockShox on the front and 140 mil travel with a RockShox on the back. It's actually Shimano Dior. I think it's a 1x12 actually, looking at the back here. Now I've noticed that it's actually a more aggressive riding position than when I'm on my enduro. So, but although this is not an enduro bike, this is more of a trail bike. It's definitely more aggressive than my other mountain bike for sure. But it's a good looking bike, I really like it. All right, we got it back in automatic mode. We'll see how this bike does out in some single track in the county forest. I like to come out here in the spring. It's Easter long weekend, so try to avoid Bushlands track on a day like today on a Sunday because it's really busy. This is usually quieter out here. More people walking, however, so you got to be careful. Thank you. That is definitely the advantage of an e-bike. This climbs just fine. Again, I'm in fully automatic mode there, so no issues with that climb. This bike's got a dropper post. I've never had a bike with a dropper post before, so I'm still learning to get used to it. I definitely have more confidence in the drivetrain on this bike than I do in my Enduro though. That's one thing about the Enduro, unfortunately. Never quite confident that I was picking the right gear and you didn't want to change it unless you had to. The drivetrain on this bike is definitely more precise. All right, so I'm not sure how many kilometers I've gotten so far on this charge. This is the initial charge from when I picked it up from the dealer. So actually, I'm not charged this bike yet, but it was a full charge, 100%. I'm down to 1 bar now, probably only about 45 kilometers. Now I've been riding on automatic mode, but I'm hoping 60 kilometers is not the normal range, because I know on my Volt bike I can get 90. The Moscow Plus I was getting more than 90. One of the reasons why I bought this bike is I'm expecting more than 90. We'll give it a better range test another day, because I've been doing a lot of off-road. But I probably don't have enough juice to get back now, so pedaling under my own power once I get back on the road. But it's probably time to head back. So first impressions, well, it's exactly what I was expecting it to be off-road. Definitely a more purpose-built mountain bike. And I'm looking forward to riding some more technical trails this summer. Thank you. The hardware is definitely an upgrade. I'm going to do a comparison video actually between this and the Volt Bike Enduro though. I initially had concerns about my Volt Bike Enduro, but you got to keep things in perspective. This bike is twice the cost of a Volt Bike Enduro. I'm not sure it's twice the bike. It's definitely better built though, there's no question about that. So you get what you pay for sure. Now as my confidence grows, we'll put this bike through its paces. Thank you. Love the drivetrain though, drivetrain's really good. Suspension and Shimano Deore drivetrain are a real plus compared to my Volt Bike Enduro. I think I'm down below 20% power level now, so we'll see whether it starts limiting the power. I still have it on automatic mode. Should be an interesting ride tomorrow, trying to get 97 kilometers on this. Hi there.
Hello
Bad
there.
girl. Nope.
Yeah, it's a Little Track County Forest just outside of Cambridge. It's not really a mountain bike place. Got some good trails in here, but it's better for walking. That's why you got to be careful with your speed in here. Next time out, when I'm mountain biking, we'll go over to Pushlands Trackville and I want to explore over there. I know that place well. Thank you. Hi there. Yeah. This is the best part. Yeah, we're down to 1 bar, so it's time to head back. We'll figure out how much range we got out of the battery for the first run. It's, that was fun to get out for an hour though. So when you turn the bike on, it starts in automatic mode, which is actually good, although it accidentally jumped out of automatic mode when I was out riding out to the Little Track there. Every bike is a little different how it delivers the power. The Moscow Plus rear hub drive, it tended to just kick on and off all the time. This one seems to want to give you a gentle nudge. It just keeps on giving you a gentle nudge. It doesn't give you a lot of power when it's in automatic mode, but it is giving me a little nudge every now and again. Now there's a ride app from Giant that I've got on my phone that'll allow you to tune the assistance on this bike. I haven't done that yet, but I can see myself riding in the automatic mode most of the time. It's actually pretty good. The trick is to figure out how you need to set the bike up in order to get your distance. On my Volt Bike Enduro, for example, if I'm on one of those rail trails like the G2G or the Brantford to Hamilton rail trail or even Cambridge to Paris, if I'm trying to get 90 kilometers out of a day, which is normal for one of our 4-hour bike rides, I gotta leave it on level 1 for the most part. I can't push it any further than that for assistance. Once I start using more assistance, I end up running out of juice. Also, the temperature has a big difference, so I'm hoping as it gets warmer, this bike will go further, because it's only 8 degrees today. But we're gonna figure it out. That's why you do a few tests. We're gonna give it a first real test tomorrow. It's we're gonna ride till 50% and then turn around and come back. Hopefully that gets us all the way to Port Dover. But I'm not sure this is gonna go as far as the Moscow Plus though. Even though it says in the website it'll do 190 kilometers, I'm gonna have to figure out how to get this bike set up to do that, because I guarantee you, based on what I did today, it's not doing 190 kilometers. Based on the chart on the website, it would suggest that what I've just completed is extreme, and that's not extreme. Because I doubt I'm gonna get 65 kilometers out of this ride. Hopefully it's like when you got a quarter tank in your car and it just goes forever on a quarter, right? So we'll see. But I'm down to an orange bar now, which means that I'm down to 10%. So I'm barely limping home now. Well, my goal today was to get out and run the battery dead for the first ride so that I can charge it up properly for tomorrow. So mission accomplished, my battery is dead. Unfortunately, I've got one more big hill to go. Hopefully I've got a little juice to get up that, but that's fine. Just because I have an e-bike doesn't mean I always ride an e-bike. I have a hardtail that I ride sometimes too, so it's just a lot more fun when you're on an e-bike. Well, there you go. Giant Trance E+3. First impressions are really good. Looking forward to tomorrow's ride. I'll do a more detailed review later once I can learn the specifications myself better on the bike. We'll take it out and do some more single track and push this track and other places like the Pines. But once I'm off-road, I like the bike better. When I'm on a road like this though, I kind of like the Enduro because it actually is a little faster. Not sure on the range on this one yet. First ride is giving me a little bit of doubt. One of the main reasons why I upgraded my bike this year was number one, to go off-road, because my Enduro, my full bike Enduro, tends to rattle around a bit, as you can hear in my videos. But I also wanted something that was not only better built to go off-road, but more importantly could go further. And the jury is still out as I pedal up this hill with no goddamn battery. Jury is still out on range because I've killed the battery. I haven't done 65 kilometers and I've killed this battery, so that one remains to be seen. Hopefully it's just the cold weather. But there's no juice left in this thing now. It's flashing orange. It has just reduced me to level 1, so it's not really doing anything for me anymore. I'm pedaling this all by myself. That's all right, no more hills. We're almost home. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you'd like me to do more videos on my brand new Giant Trance E+3, leave me a comment. Let me know what you'd like me to tell you about the bike. It's my new ride for the summer, so I'll be on it a lot. There is no juice left in this now. It's absolutely dead. This is the stage of the ride where I wish I was on my North Rock, my hardtail, because it's half the weight of this thing, because this thing is still over 50 pounds. Actually, when the battery is dead, this bike is not an easy bike to ride. I would argue that my Moscow Plus has less rolling resistance than this does. So, picked up the bike with 100% charge in the battery. I've now done 51 kilometers and I've run the battery dead. So hopefully we're going to get more distance out of this thing than what it did on its first ride, because that's a little disappointing.